A very good day and maybe a good afternoon to everybody. I would like to thank everybody for this great opportunity that I have been invited to deliver the keynote speech on the digital transformation, living the digital mindset and changing it, and how we will be literally thinking everything about digital when it comes to the transformation journey that the industry is going through. So appreciate that. And with that, I'll start in terms of sharing my points of view and also some of the industry examples and also what the customer expectations are in the next few minutes with you all. Hope that you will be able to enjoy this session with me today, right? So if you really look at today, why the companies are looking at a digital transformation, because digital transformation actually is a journey, and the journey is a very simple journey, and people say it as it's simple, but actually simple is nothing else by adapting the organization strategy and the structure to capture the opportunities that are enabled by digital technology. The Harvard paper on this very clearly says that if you follow the simple steps and structure your organization and define the digital strategy, then you'll be absolutely on the right track, right? Looking at in terms of the industry, given the increasing demands of the customers and the competitive landscape that is there, and insurance companies do face that in an aggressive fashion, insurance companies need to be able to leverage digital technologies to stay ahead of competition. Otherwise, they will be laggards and they will not be leaders in the industry. And with the implementation of digital technologies, the insurance companies expect to improve the customer experience and also the operational efficiency. It is not one in lieu of the other, but they really expect to increase the customer experience, which is really, really important because the customers expect things to happen instantaneously and also being very responsive by the insurers, and hence the customer experience plays a huge role here, right? And also the operational efficiency is also very, very important, right? Though the insurance industry is not an early adopter, right? Maybe retail banking or retail industry has been very early in terms of adopting from a digital transformation point of view, but insurance is definitely catching up in terms of how it should work and what should be the business models and what are the demanding customers that are really looking for, and making sure that the industry is adopting the digital technology, right? And in the current state, if you really look at it, most of the global leaders, right, and insurers have adopted the digital first strategy in almost, I would say, a good percentage. 85+% of the companies have already adopted the digital first business strategy plan to do so, right? That's a very good thing. And if you really look at it, that's what one would expect the world to be looking at. Second, 70% of the companies have a digital transformation strategy in place, or they're also either that or they're in the process of making that happen. So that way they're also in a very, very good situation. So how is that in terms of, if you really look at it, if this much of effort is going in and people are investing in preparing for the digital transformation, defining the strategy, and many of them are already there, how is the traditional way of working to what should be the new way of working, right? That is very important for everybody to understand. So what is it that mean to the customer, to the insurance company, to the technology providers, and the entire ecosystem? That plays a huge role in thinking digital all the time and changing the mindset all the time and continuously. So to me, in my view, the current mode of operations meets the customer expectations to an extent, but in the refined new world of the digital world, continuously one has to look at all the processes that are associated and underlying to make sure that they are in line with the customer expectation. So if the customer wants to, say, for example, cut the loss and make sure that they have to pay off, then, or they have to do the transaction, then the insurance company should be very clearly ready with their claims processing system, which should be in a position to get and gather and do the transaction almost as instantaneously as it can be possible and not make the customer wait, right? And there is multiple things that can be done in towards this, right? Automating the claims processes extensively, the startup of, everything using the AI and making sure to settle claim and set an example for the rest of the industry to emulate a claim that can be settled even in 3 seconds, right? From zero paperwork, from the time everything is absolutely with no real touch of a paper or any call or anything, right from your mobile to do what you have to do or what you need to do from a claim processing perspective. Those kind of disruptions are important, and for people to really follow on how that will make the customer make experience better, and that experience will make the insurance companies to be very, very successful, right? So another example I'll give you is motor insurance getting activated when the vehicle is on the road seamlessly. Can I do that? Maybe my insurance is expiring and I want to take my car out, but oh, I don't have an insurance. I need to buy an insurance. No, I can with the technology innovations that are possible today, with the help of IoT and many other things. The moment I take the car on the road, my motor insurance can be automatically, seamlessly that can come on, right? That's the kind of a change that the world is expecting. And another aspect I would like to highlight is, say, look at gamification as a means of engaging with the customer, because the customer engagement is also very, very important, right? And that is something, those are classic, simple examples that I shared with you on how you make the transformation successful and how you make sure that the customers are remaining engaged. Not only they're remaining engaged, but they also make sure that their experience is far superior, right? That's the one. Now, we are going through in the last 18 months, right? In terms of the world has gone through a tremendous change. And the pandemic has taught us more than what anybody expected us to really do. That's the reality of the situation. And it added to, in terms of our knowledge about the digital transformation process, the COVID-19 has impacted it in a very, very big, I would say, way, in a positive way, to be very honest. So you really have now an accelerated adoption of digital first approach. Nobody is like saying, oh, I won't go the digital way. People are saying, oh, can I accelerate it faster? Can I adopt first? And may I be the first person to do it? So that kind of a situation has come in post the pandemic situation, right? So throughout 2022, actually, right, we expect the insurance companies reacting to the long-term effects of the pandemic while continue to advance further into the future digital insurance. That is what is going to be happening to the insurance industry from a digital transformation perspective. So the mindset is already changed. Acceleration is coming, pace is increasing of digital transformation. But at the same time, the long-term impact on the insurance industry of the pandemic will not go away. It will continue to be there, and it needs to be serviced in addition to how we will be working on the future of the digital insurance, right? So in 2022, I would say that insurers will have to take efforts to restore the customer's faith in the industry, as well as minimizing the customer's loss in the wake of premium rises. The premiums have gone up, and it is rightfully so from a traditional way of looking at the business. But is this a sustainable model for the customers to really feel happy and continue in terms of renewals and so on and so forth. So insurances have to really look at that, right? And obviously for that, you need to increase the transparency and also simplifying the processes, whether it is in terms of the claims processes or any other processes. There has to be a transparency and simplification in order to boost the retention rates. That is where you will do well as an insurance company, and customer brand loyalty will be strengthened and retained. So this is really a very important aspect for all the insurance companies to consider as well, right? Because they would not want to let the customer walk out because lack of transparency or lack of simplification of the process or anything of that sort, right? And really, if you look at it, another dimension is remote working is here to stay. It's not going away that easily. We will all agree to that fact. At least even if everybody starts working, it will be more partial of working in office, working from home. It will be a hybrid model, and it's not going to be a full-fledged old model, right? So, and on the digital channels, the engagement of the employees are going to really increase because of that. And that is also an activity that one really needs to take into consideration. And also looking at it, marketing and sales will be automated and deliver personalized campaigns, right? That is very important, and you need to focus on personalized campaigns and also delivering that very data-driven marketing and not general marketing, so which needs to be highly personalized, and high personalization really is data backed. And once it's data backed, people do have the trust in you to say that, yes, this is relevant to me, this is for me, and I will be in a position to discuss that, right? So data-driven marketing reaches the right people, offers a better return of investment, and means that tweaking and improving the marketing campaigns year on year is simpler than ever before. Those kind of changes post the pandemic is something that I expect to happen without a doubt, right? And looking at in terms of what is it, right? And everybody who has embarked on this journey, have they been successful? And what kind of challenges do we see that they could have faced? And what are the learnings? And how do you learn from them and move on, right? That's a very important aspect to reflect upon as well, right? And that is something that we can maybe think through. And for each organization, it would vary, but there are a couple of common themes that run across all organizations in my view, right? The biggest challenge, I believe, right, is incomplete digitization and therefore suboptimal return on investment realization. Because no organization starts the digitization and the transformation work without an expectation of the ROI coming from that project. So we need really successful operating models and the right designs to get the right return on investment on the entire digital journey, right? Insurers will continue to invest in digitalizing processes as these have become the table stakes, right? They can't go back on that. So how to improve the ROI and how we can eliminate the suboptimal realization of the ROI and making sure that there is no incomplete digitization, and how the number of processes that can be digitized more have to be looked at. That's a very good learning and also a key note that everybody who embarks on this journey has to remember, right? And if you really looked at it, pre-COVID, if you really looked at in terms of from a customer behavior perspective, they were offline, but they were also online, and they were able to look through the agents, they were looked through online, and it was more phygital, I would say. It was phygital. Now it is completely moving towards digital. So a movement from phygital to digital itself, the recent sense will, in terms of how do you make the customer experience more successful, more responsive, more authentic on the suggestions that goes to your customers. That's going to play an immensely critical role, right? A robo advisor or anything that can come in from automation and data driven, and it has been tried out in other spaces like wealth, etc. But how do we replicate that in terms of keeping the customer at the center? And for insurance companies, what do we need to do on these learnings and making sure that they are a successful, digital transformation journey, right? So that's my view on the learnings and also what needs to be done, right? How do people do it? Who has done it, right? What kind of a model have they adopted are also very important for people to look at it in addition to the lessons learned, right? Whenever we say digital transformation and whenever we say think digital at every point of step and at every process test point, if you have to look at that, we really need to be very agile, right? And nothing to beat an agile transformation, and business and IT really joined at the hip and being highly collaborative for the digital transformation plans. It's not business driving or IT driving. It has to be business and IT together, joined to do this in an agile mode. That is when success will come in, at least in terms of stages and steps, which can be realized by the customers, by the insurance companies, and also the service providers, right? And it really needs to be considered not as a technology project, but it needs to be considered as a business transformation. And we really need to define KPIs at all levels, from customer satisfaction, from an NPS score to a business outcome, to technically in terms of how successfully within the budget, etc., the project really ran. So that is the way that we really can change this as well to be a successful transformation, and also the mindset change to move away from a single owner to a joint owner in terms of business and technology, really looking at it, right? So, and also I would like to highlight on, right, okay, is there a change in the insurance industry as a whole? Are we seeing it? And will the digital transformation be changing the digital industry as a whole in a holistic manner for, and in a global perspective, just not maybe a regional perspective, and for, a global perspective? Definitely, I would say, right, in terms of insurance companies will change whether they hold a meeting via any tool or a platform, whether it is a Zoom, whether it is a Google Meet, whether it is a WebEx, whether it is whatever, right? At the end of the day, everybody has to increase the customer experience. This is true for even a Zoom, this is true for a WebEx, this is true for whatever. So for post-pandemic, on any industry, the customer experience has to enhance, means post the pandemic, really virtual, augmented, and extended reality will likely to come into play. There is no two thoughts or doubts in my mind, at least, about this. We are talking about platforms which are enabling us to connect with each other, like a Google Meet or Zoom or WebEx, etc., enhancing themselves. So insurance as an industry really needs to focus on getting the virtual, augmented, and extended reality into the play and making it, really simple, and also increasingly more digitized. And that's going to be theme of maybe the world, right? It is going to be staying for a long term till it's done, which is not going to be next year or the next 2 years. It's going to be definitely few years. And also this will enable the self-service, right? Opportunities will continue to grow with the advancements of technology because of that. And the moment you say self-service, the needs of self-service grow immensely, high, because the customers want the self-service to be like so easy and intuitive and not to be driven by too many steps and too many processes. And hence, keeping in mind the business and the technology integration and how you can simplify that is going to definitely make a huge impact on that. So I would say, in terms of a new era of customer transformation and industry transformation and competition is coming up. It's dawning. One where insurers can build their entire transformation to drive efficiency and better serve their customers, right? It's definitely going to come up in that way. And growing, it's going to also take a lot of investments on data, artificial intelligence, and making sure that you're being highly transparent with the right kind of data and the right kind of information in front of your customers, which is going to be an USP for every insurance company, right, at the end of the day. And ease of use, right? And natural language processing, low mode platforms, RPA, robotic process automation, and more, right? Democratizing technology and putting the powerful capabilities into the hands of the people. And we can define in terms of customizing, personalizing my experience to your experience is going to be very different, and people are going to spend a lot of money and investment on this, right? And that is, I also believe strongly, as you know, in terms of a closing note, future of insurance is going to lie with collaboration. It's not that leading insurers are going to reimagine their partnership and they are going to just buy things out, or they are going to expand. They are going to really reimagine their presence with ecosystems and multi-party systems, and they are going to also try to work with the various fintechs that are there and collaborate and coexist with them, and how to coexist with them and how to make sure that as an ecosystem and a complete platform play, one can provide what the customer wants, and one can really look at in terms of the future and also get the return on investment. That is what I see in terms of a change of a mindset on thinking digital all the way through in the insurance industry. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful session for the rest of the day, and thank you for everybody in listening to this.